we gather in the cosmos bright. Stars and ships take flight tonight. In the void where dreams do play, soul citizens lead the way. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed. Squadrons call on the horizon. Battles fought, our hearts aren't frightened. In our ships we face the dawn. Soul citizens carry on. Oh, planets spin and light years fly. Boundless space where hopes reside. Brotherhood in every star. Soul citizens, here we are. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed.
Hello, greetings, and welcome back to Soul Citizens. I am GriffinGamingRPG. Today is Sunday, July the 12th, and we are back. We as in myself and the one and the only Fastcart FC. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm still getting used to having a bald head. No one ever told you that it turns your head from the soft side of Velcro into the rough side of Velcro. When I put on a shirt, it sounds like I'm lifting my shirt now. So, yeah, it's not good. It's not a good sound.
It's not a good sound.
Mm-mm.
Is it kind of like a 5
I don't
o'clock
even know if
shadow?
that came through.
Is it
What?
like a 5 o'clock shadow sound? Like when you when you haven't, when your hair is not completely out, but it's there. Is it that rough sound like that, or is it just something else
It's
completely?
worse because it's covered more surface area. So
Oh, okay.
it's like stereo instead of mono. I don't
I
know.
got you. Well,
It's surround sound.
You
There
look
go.
okay. I mean, at least you look okay. It doesn't look like you notice
Thank you.
anything different. So, but otherwise, how was your week? Do you have a good week?
I had a good week, thank you. I'm still
Yeah.
playing some of my mobile games, still playing online. I'm
Okay.
hitting kind of a wall. The
Oh.
game wants me to pay money, and I'm not going to pay money.
Oh, is it finally hit the wall? Yeah, you hit that spot, right? Where they know
Yeah.
when they got you and they got to make the decision. Okay, well,
I'm grinding. That's the decision I made.
I got you.
How about
I got you. It's been an interesting week. It's been okay. I guess it's kind of a blur. I don't know what's going on with this week. I couldn't even tell you what I did this week. I had a Spanish
You see
lesson.
the movies?
No, you know what? Excuse me. I've been in this mode to go back and watch old films that I watched when I was a kid for some reason. Some of these films you guys have heard of and some of them you may not have heard of. But I watched the original Westworld the other day with Yul Brynner.
Okay.
Right. I hadn't seen that in literally probably decades. So I watched that. And I was going to get together with some people. I know I talked to Nihilus. I was thinking about watching Soylent Green because there are people I know who've never seen Soylent Green before. And then I've been wanting to watch Rollerball. I don't know if you remember that one with James Caan. Do you remember that?
No, I don't
Where it
remember
was in
that
the
one.
future.
That
These
one-
are all like kind of like apocalyptic.
It's like
Bad
running man. With that one.
Oh,
where the
like
guy
Logan's
finds
Run,
young.
like Logan's Run.
Like Logan's Run.
Yeah, Logan's Run would be one of those films in that category too. It's like those really weird post-apocalyptic, like the Omega Man.
What was going on back then?
You know, it was a weird
We had
period
all
because
those movies, then we had Star Wars.
yeah, well, that's actually the pattern. There was this period between Vietnam in the 60s and early 70s till Star Wars came where there was a lot of like just doom and gloom. I mean, you even the action films, the stuff came out like Chinatown and those films. You had like remember the Towering Inferno and Earthquake.
Yeah.
Everything was just kind of blood. That's why one of the reasons why
And the
Star
one that's
Wars was so
underwater,
popular. Yeah, but that's one of the reasons why Star Wars was popular because it was escape. Because people had been just flooded with all of this negative stuff, and all of a sudden there was this. Let's take you someplace to think about, you know, the old days of the hero and the villain, and so those things kind of led up to why Star Wars became such a popular thing at the time. But I can go through a whole film history thing, but you get my point.
Yeah.
That's kind of what
It was a breath of
you know.
fresh air that was needed.
It
at the
was
time.
exactly. It was. I don't know. Like I said,
Yes,
maybe it was because we
Zardoz.
came out of Vietnam or what. I don't know. But anyway,
Even
let's get some.
Psychosis said Zardoz.
Yeah. Let's get some shout outs. So Daz69 is here. The Prisoner, Vartano is here. Blackwater Goat, see you with those rotating lights. Good to see you. Vavrick, our good friend Vavrick's here. Enote, 11111 is here, says he's in game. Pops is here, Captain Jones, CC Creators out there, Citizen Ninja, and is that all of it? Danger Hobos out there. Good to see you, Danger Hobos out there. And
Now-
Damon, 1331, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. What were you going to say,
Now,
Fastcart?
30 years from now, we're going to be talking about the golden age of superhero movies.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
those days? Yeah, so
Yeah,
it goes
Citizen
in
Ninja.
cycles.
Yes, Citizen Ninja's there. See, that's the problem. See, y'all go with all this stuff that's recent. Half them superheroes been around since the 1920s and 30s.
Not
Y'all
like
don't
this.
never go
Not
back
like
far
this.
enough. Yeah, but y'all don't
Not
go
like
back
this.
far enough. Y'all should.
No,
Y'all
I'm
don't
talking
go
about
back
like,
far enough.
I'm talking about like that the MCU having an overall arc over 22 movies.
Oh no, I get that, but I'm still saying you'd be amazed at how many people who watch the movies now that you're talking about don't know that they made versions of that stuff back in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
remember
I'm
Spider-Man
saying.
from the 70s. I remember Captain America from the 70s.
Fast cart, you ain't going back far enough. I said the 30s and 40s. 70s
just
when you were a
saying.
kid.
I'm
I'm
just
talking about
saying.
before you were born.
Yeah, I know.
'Cause you were talking about in the
What's
future.
his name? George Reeve from Superman. I remember. I know.
Oh Lord, he ain't going back far enough, y'all. But that's okay. I'm
Adam West.
older than Fast Cart. I'm older than Fast Cart, so I can't blame him. 'Cause I'm older than him. But y'all go back and watch the old Green Hornet, Batman, and Superman from like the 1920s and 30s. It'll blow your mind because that stuff was like it's a trip. Just watch it. Anyway, you're right, Fast Cart. There will be a day when all this stuff becomes huge cinematic history, and people will be talking about these films. Okay, so we got a busy week. Oh God, yeah. See, DJ DJ Psychosis knows what I'm talking about. See what name he put up there,
Last
Fast
one.
Cart?
Yeah.
See
All right,
that?
all right,
There
yeah.
you go. See?
All right. And not talking about the 70s one. Talking about the one from there, black and white.
No, not the 70s. He's not
Hey, I'm
Queen.
just saying. I know what I'm talking about. I know what he's talking about. The black and white one.
Who was the actor?
I don't remember.
That's fair. You shouldn't, because that goes back too far. You shouldn't remember. If you said that, I've been like, really, okay, Fast Cart, I'll leave you alone. You got it. Anyway, all right. So let's talk about what's going on. This was a kind of a light week, right? See, the prisoner knows.
Yeah, it's a light week.
It was a light week.
Yeah, it's a light week. Yeah.
And we get these weeks, and we even said this, like, I think last week or week before, that we're entering that period of the year where things start to slow down a little bit with information and stuff from CIG. Once Alien Week hits, things start to get kind of quiet. In fact, that was one of the reasons why we were able to do Quantum Vegas last year, because CIG had told us that was kind of like a good period of time during the year where things get a little quiet for them. And so as we lead into CitizenCon, this is always a really interesting period. First thing is people start noticing that we're not hearing as much stuff. Then the second thing happens is people start feeling like, how come we're not hearing stuff? And then people start anticipating what is normally the period of CitizenCon, right? So it's kind of like this roller coaster ride. Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing, content creators start complaining like there's not enough content for me to be content.
Yeah, well, they complain about that in general. But yes, this period of time. But you know what? A lot of the content creators who've been around long enough know this is the slow period. So they kind of prepare themselves for the fact that things get slow. I think what happens is as CitizenCon approaches, if we don't start getting tidbits, then that's when they start getting really, really antsy. But most of you all who've been around for a period of time know that this is just kind of like that period. A few weeks ago, we were getting tons of videos and we were getting tons of information. And this week, things kind of slowed down. So we're going to do our best to cover what did come out this week. And then we're going to get into our show a little bit later on. So fastcart, one of the first things that came up was this was from the sneak peek from, was it last week we saw the sneak peek for this or week before? Do you remember when we saw the eyeballs on that little thingy, the little mascot?
There's no data on there. Oh, well, I thought, last week.
Was it last week when we saw that?
Week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we were all kind of guessing what we thought it was. I know somebody, I think it was almost over. He could see the reflection of like a ship cockpit in the little thing. So we found out that is something for the dashboard. Have you used any of those items that come up in there, the flare? Have you used any of them, put them on your ship yet to try it out? Just to see how it works?
No. Not on my ship, no. I've seen other people do it, but I haven't done it myself, no.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think I've done it yet either. And I always say one day, I'm going to just go, try these things out and see what they look like. But evidently people like them. And then
I
also,
think I got the bobblehead that I still haven't put on.
the bobblehead. Yeah, from back in the day. Yeah, the bobblehead. Well, this one was made to sit neatly on your dashboard. This companion dashbot reacts during your travels with a large range of humorous facial expressions. Whether it's happy to see you or silently judging your piloting skills, the Emoto Dashbot is sure to make your next flight a little more fun. The Emoto Dashboard can be equipped on any vehicle cockpit with a flare item dashboard port. Now, that was one of the things I was surprised about, is that this thing was animated, because I happened to notice that the eyes, what seem to be eyes on there, are different than what we saw on the sneak peek. On the sneak peek, we saw the little swirls, right? And so this is something that's a little innovative. I'm gonna have to put this on my ship and like go out and fly around kind of crazy and see what the different expressions are on it.
I want to know what this thing does when you're taking hits from getting attacked.
Like, you know what you need? It needs to be. It needs to be like R2D2. You know how R2 would scream, when something would happen. Yeah, right. You need something. You need something like that. Some sound that comes out of it.
No, that would
Probably
drive
freak
people crazy
people
after a while. They want to turn that off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would drive folks crazy.
I'd be fine with just making a facial expression. But I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. I do want this. I do want more than one. So I can put it on more than one ship. But I don't want to. I don't want to subscribe. But next time I subscribe, I'll pick a couple of them up. But because it had the gun with it, I decided not to subscribe. So when it had something to have two things that I want, I'll subscribe then and pick it up then.
Yeah. It would be kind of cool if they like make it so it could, like, you could say what it did first. I don't know if I'm assuming it randomly does things based on actions of the ship.
I think it's depending on what the state of your
ship is doing. Yeah, I would love to see it though actually be something like when people come on your ship that shouldn't come on, like it said intruder alert or something like that. That would be kind of cool. I'm saying, it can detect.
I don't think I'd do that.
Well, no, I'm not saying it would. I'm just saying it'd be kind of cool because there is a detection system when somebody comes on your ship that shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? So it would be kind of neat.
Would be cool? If you have a fire on the ship and the thing,
something like turn red or something. Yeah, just something to alert you or something. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Or just start screaming fire. Something. It'd be kind of interesting to see what happens. It says in the Ironclad, it does not let you place it on the dash, only on the desk in the owner's room. That's interesting. But again, it says if it has a slot. Damon, does it have a slot? Does the Ironclad have a slot on that spot? And are you talking about Are you talking about in the command module and in the new area, the control room, the operations area, or is it just doesn't do it in either place? Because I'm curious. I don't own an Ironclad, so I couldn't try it out to see what the deal is with that. Ooh, excuse me. Okay. Well, anyway, now you mentioned about the gun.
I have way too many guns.
Let's talk about it.
Guns.
Okay, the energy-based assault rifle provides an accurate and sustained fire at targets up to a medium range, while its large power capacity allows operators to fire considerably more shots per battery. The Conviction Camo Edition utilizes a selection of grays to help blend in with urban environments. That used to be one of my favorite guns back in the day. And like all the guns in this game, they change up. Like they'll, 1 second it's a really good gun, then it's like something happens, gets nerfed, or then it gets boosted. It goes back and forth, right? But that used to be like one of my favorite guns. I haven't like that's not one of the ones I grab right away anymore. I have them in my selection. Um, Let me ask you a question. Are you one of those people that you don't care about the guns, or are you one of those people that if it's the gun that you like, you'll get it?
If it's gun I like, I'll get it. But to Captain Jones' point, that he said there's no such thing as too many guns. No, let me clarify. I have too many guns I don't use. I have the
Okay, right,
pistols. I have
right.
the sniper rifles. I have a whole lot of guns that I don't use. Right now, I'm posted to the corner, and I
Okay,
have
yeah,
like
the
three of
Karna.
those.
Karna's nice. Yep,
Yeah, I have three of
Karna's nice.
those. Yes,
Okay.
so
So that's why I asked, because for some people they're just gun collectors. They want whatever comes up, they're happy to get it. And then there are other people, like if a P6 pops up, they're going to get it, right? Because they like the
that used to be
P6.
my go-to. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's cool. So you're not against guns, but like you said, you just don't want to have all that clutter for stuff that you're just
I
not
don't want to
interested in.
clutter. That's it.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
That's more than fair. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm anti-gun. Down with
yeah,
gun.
oh God, anti-gun. Yeah. Yeah. And America. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, that's what we have for the July. For those of you who are interested in that, also for July. Oh, I almost neglected to mention, if you are a subscriber, for some of you, most of you know this, but some of you, if you're new, you may not know that if you are a subscriber, you automatically get these items. If you're a what was it? Is it Centurion and Imperator, right?
Centurion get one, Imperator
Right.
get both.
Right. So Centurion, right. Fastcart just explained it. So it's Centurion or Imperator. But you also get access to certain ships during that month. So to help you play your part in the ongoing Xenothreat incursion, the latest ships of the month are the Deadly Anvil Hornet Mark II series. Plus, you won't be lonely on your way, okay, with the other flair that you got. So those of you who are really into, a lot of people love the Anvil Hornet series, particularly the Mark II series, the new ones. Some folks are nostalgic and still love the old ones. FC, I know you were a big Anvil pilot. That was your kind of manufacturer of choice, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm a spring prey kind of guy. So before the F8 came out, the Super Hornet had all those guns on it. So yeah, that was my play style, and it was tanky. It was tanky. Yeah. So but you like.
But I was going to say, because I remember you used to talk about the Super Hornet a lot, though, right? That was still. Well, let me ask you a question. Which one was your go-to? Not the F8, the Heartseeker.
The Heartseeker, yeah.
Why? Was it because
the Heartseeker was laser based? The normal one was ballistic.
Got you. Okay.
I was gonna say that the Centurion get Anvil Mark II with 12 months insurance, and the Imperator get the Super Hornet Mark II, and the normal Hornet with 24 months insurance if you decide to pick it up. But I think you get access to one or the other if you Imperator and a Centurion, depending on what you are.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So if you're a subscriber, based on Imperator and Centurion, you telling me that they actually separate that too? You don't get like the Centurion person doesn't get access to all of this series? I thought that they got all of them.
I thought they only get access to the Centurion one. I'm not well. It's been a while, but I thought like Imperator get access to both. I'm pretty sure. But
I didn't think the ships were split up. I didn't think the ships were split up because it's all of the Mark II series. I thought that I thought that both Centurion and Imperator got access to all of them.
The vehicle of the month.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
They only list those two. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, because they're not doing the Ghost,
the other ones,
Radar one.
all the other ones. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, that's it for the July subscriber perks for those of you who are interested in that. Regarding Squadron 42, there was a letter, and I'm pretty sure I can share this information because it's not like anytime CIG publishes something and it's not under NDA, you can talk about it. But a letter went out to many of the people who have been invited, and it basically just confirmed that RSVPs had been reserved. And some of you may know that when people got invitations to go to this event, they had to do an RSVP. I think it had to be turned in on the 29th of June. And it was only like 2 weeks that, you had to tell them yay or nay, I'm not coming. And I've always been under the assumption that they're doing that so that they'll have a count, and then they may put out another set of invitations. Please don't think that I have no insider information. So please don't quote me on that. but because they were making people reserve themselves within 2 weeks, I kind of felt like, because the way it read was they wanted to know that way. Let's say they sent out, I'm just picking a random number. Let's say they sent out 200 invitations and 30 or 40 of those people said, I can't come. I got other obligations, can't afford it, blah, 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 blah. Then that leaves some room for some other people to be able to get invitations. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm like you guys. I've kind of looked at the internet and kind of saw what content creators have been invited, and people who said I'm going and I can't. Some people have said they couldn't go. They had other obligations. Some people were like, it depends. I got to see what I can work out. So none of us have heard anything as far as the content creator community. I haven't heard anybody say anything about a count or how many people are invited. We don't know if there are other industry people being invited. I've been told that there are people who aren't content creators who have also maybe received invitations, but I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've been told.
Maybe certain levels of concierge, or maybe certain people who've been around for a long time, or maybe some people who,
Maybe it's just brand new people. Maybe it's brand new people. CIG has always they've tried to say that they don't want to gatekeep certain aspects of this. They want people to be able to have access. So if they invited just a plain old Joe who just signed up a month ago, I ain't mad at them. I think that it should be a cross section of people that get an opportunity to do things like this.
Yeah, the president said maybe 100 people. I'm guessing 150 because that's how many people it seemed like were in the Manchester office during last year's CitizenCon event where they had the people in that venue. So that 100 or 150, that's my guess. But like Griffin said, I don't know anything. I'm not an insider. The president asked whether or not they sent out its second wave of invites. We don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. Or people who maybe if they did, people are keeping quiet this time because they learned a lesson from the first time. I don't
know. Could be. Yeah, you could. See some people maybe just deciding not to say anything. I don't know. Yeah. But anything, one of the things that I know that was in there that said was everything else you'll need to know ahead of the weekend, including event schedules, NDAs, venue details will follow in an upcoming update. So we told you that anything that we can find out or we hear, we'll pass on just to kind of keep the community abroad. I don't think that CIG has a problem with that. Obviously, if it's under NDA, then people won't be able to say anything. But we just kind of wanted to give an update on that because we know people are still anticipating this October thing. Like, what is that? What is it going to look like? What is it going to be? What are people going to see? Whether it's the attendees or whether it's the attendees in the community. No, my vote, you guys have heard me say it. My vote is the attendees in the community. I want everybody to see whatever is happening at that time. And the NDA does not mean that can't be shared. The NDA may be totally in regard to anytime you go to the studios, it doesn't make a difference. If you go to any of the studios, there's automatically an NDA thing going on. So it could be just nothing more than whatever, when you go into the studio, especially if you're seeing work that's being done, you can't be recording it and you can't be going back and saying, oh, we saw the Nautilus and it's 90% done.
You can't take your phone out and start recording everything that you see. Some people try to do that. So no, they don't want that. That's probably what the NDA is. And also,
it could be.
People may be getting upset saying NDA, that means they're not going to stream it. No, the NDA probably, like Griffin said, you can't show stuff this in the office. It's a 3-day event, so I'd imagine they'll have some kind of stream presentation at least on 1 or 2 of those days. But I don't know anything. That's just my guess.
Yeah. My guess is that, and I've heard some content creators say this, are they going to, they're planning on streaming if they can't. I don't think CIG is going to let us stream anything. I shouldn't say us. It's not going to let them because I'm not streaming Squad. I don't think they're going to let people stream.
I'm just saying that CIG might stream. That's right.
Well, no. But I'm saying the reason why. The reason why is because I think CIG wants to control the narrative on anything in relation to Squadron 42. And so I don't think that it's going to be a situation where streamers will be able to. But like fastcart said, I wouldn't be surprised if CIG also streams something, again, so that the community can be participating and see what's going on with that. But we'll see. We're I don't know how many days out that is. How far out is that? This is July, August, September, October. So 3 months. We got at least 90 days before we get around to... In fact, it would be almost 90 days exactly. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, like 89 days.
89 days. Wow. Okay. Wow. That's a lucky
actually,
number.
Because you have July and August for 31 days. So,
August, September,
90 days.
October, July. Yeah, August, September, October. Yeah, 90
I can
days.
just look it up.
Yeah.
I can
that's just about what it is. Okay. Yeah, ask Google. Right. How many days till October the 9th?
Exactly.
What number did you come up with?
Hold on. How many days?
You're supposed to have your Claude or your whatever just automatically hooked up, so you can just
89
ask it
days.
questions.
89.
89. So we're right. 89 days. Okay, not far away. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Let's see here. And okay, let's talk about this. The Inside Star Citizen patch report. I got thrown off a little bit here. The patch report from this week was very short, fastcart. Yeah. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I watched it a couple of times. I didn't take notes of it because I didn't expect it to be on. But yeah, I did watch it.
All right. Well, it's short. Like you said, it's only like 5-6 minutes. So we're going to play that real quick for you guys, for those of you who didn't get a chance to see it, and we'll talk about it.
Last week, we announced our decision to move the release of our upcoming Siege of Ore as an operation from next week out to mid-August, giving us more time to harden the system supporting our first iterations of content instancing. Now, this change was made in equal parts our own desire to make the new content as successful as possible, as well as the feedback received by you, the Star Citizen community. So, the easy thing might have been to just delay all of 4.9 a month. But as we spoke about on the last episode of Star Citizen Live, there are a host of smaller content and feature additions, bug fixes, and quality of life improvements we think are ready to go now. So, rather than just hold all those back, we've moved Siege out of 4.9 into a brand new Alpha 4.10 scheduled for August, which will now let us release 4.9 next week with almost everything else originally slated. And as for those things, let's jump in now and see some of what next week's release is bringing with it. Ahead of Rico Battaglia's fully instanced Mission Giver return in August, there's a new suite of repeatable evergreen missions that let you start building your rep with the legend early. Now, these include your basic prospecting contracts where you report back locations of resources as work for others, and contracts where you go and do the mining yourself. But there's also more intriguing offerings where you're asked to investigate the results of recent attacks throughout the frontier by an elusive group called the Moraine. They're attacking industrial ships throughout the system, and Rico needs your help to find out what's going on and to save her friends. These contracts include discovering what happened to missing workers, boarding hijacked vessels to recover control, retrieve data from suspected Moraine facilities, recover items from previously pirated ships, and even a little salvage of the remaining wrecks themselves. It's a nice primer for her full return in Alpha 4.10 and your further adventures with the storied Mission Giver. In ship and vehicle features, some long-awaited enhancements to the combat UI arrive next week, designed to help everyone better understand successful hits, penetrations, and damage to shields, armor, hull, and components. That's just neat. Then newly improved ship flyby sounds are being reintroduced to the verse, with all new audio assets intended to deliver greater immersion, drink, oral fidelity, drink, and improved positional feedback, okay, during flight. Now, it won't be for every ship, but like other features such as components, engineering, and lamp, these will continue to roll out to more ships and vehicles in subsequent patches. There's also a new ordnance cargo container feature going in, adding dedicated frames for things like missiles, torpedoes, and bombs to improve the presentation and storage of such items on cargo grids. Did I say ordnance or ordinance? Ordnance. Not ordnance? Yeah. So it's a smaller thing that perhaps isn't as sexy, but all existing distribution centers are being redropped on planets and moons with a variety of systemic and physics improvements that will fix a large amount of missions that occur there. And there was much rejoicing. Yay! And ahead of Starware, which I'll go ahead and tell you is currently tracking for 4/11 in September, cross your fingers, there's a new series of combat clothing coming to shops in the verse. Now, these may not offer the same level of protection as a full suit of armor, but they'll do more to keep you alive in a gunfight than other clothing options. Plus, they're snazzy. Be seeing you. And closing out our coverage of Alpha 4.9, there are also behavior improvements to the juvenile and adult Valakars, new hairstyles, a new classic from one of our most popular weapon manufacturers with the bullpup rifle from Bering, and perhaps the most important addition to Star Citizen since planets and star systems were added, new kiosks have been added to New Deal. Thank you, Hassie. So that's all I got for you now. Be sure you jump in next week to experience Alpha 4.9 yourself. And remember that not every fix being prioritized and work done now will come all at once. Also, to those of you who have been helping in PTU and reporting issues and helping Repro, we hope you'll continue beyond the release next week to help us ensure Siege of Orison is everything it can be when it arrives next month. For now, we'll see you at the Bash next week.
All right, buddy. What's your thoughts? Anything in there grab you?
Yeah, the new suit. I am a John Wick fan. The only thing that worries me is that they don't really protect your head, so everyone just could be going for headshots. I mean, I don't know what they're supposed to solve. That's me.
Let's talk about that, right? As soon as I saw those, I saw a couple of photos that were put in the newsletter, and I went out and went to the store and bought a set and took a look at it. And they're very nice. I like the suits a lot. But let's talk about what do you think the reality are those suits are for? Because obviously they're not designed for you to go out to go into battle. They have very low, very, very low armor protection. I think it's somewhere between like 8% and 15 or 12%. It's nothing. And mind you, this is pre-crafting, right? This isn't when you go out and, because when you do your own suits, it does raise the damage thing up a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, but it does raise it. And we know that crafting is going to be built out. So what are you seeing that when you start getting these clothing items now, because CIG had talked about Starware, like what's the practical use for this in game now for you? What do you think?
Right now,
what do you think it will be? Now, what do you think it will be? Why are they making clothing that has this is what I'm basically asking.
So long time ago, Chris Roberts mentioned that NPCs will interact with you differently depending on what you're wearing or maybe even your hygiene. So if you're dressing smart, maybe they'll treat you better rather than if you just coming in with a full battle set, armor set, you know. Or if you don't shower, that's what a long time ago. That's what it said. If you don't shower, they may treat you not as well as if you have better hygiene. So I'm saying, I can see a point where if you're wearing a suit and it looks good, the NPCs will maybe give you a better price or just interact with you better.
Okay, I'm going to move beyond the suit. I want you to think beyond the suit. Why is it important that clothing become important? Because there are other things that CIG has showed us. Give me a good example of what I mean. Do you think it's a possibility that there will become a time when you come into certain places, you will not be able to wear armor? You will have to take off your armor.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, as a matter of fact, they have those missions now where you have to take off your armor in order to have a disguise or something like that, yeah.
So if you go into places like, mind you, when you're walking around in Hurston or wherever, the people aren't, I mean, there are some people that are wearing armor now, but do you think it'll ever come to a point where there's certain places where literally, you know, you've got lockers on your ship, you've got these areas where you check in customs, because if you remember in one of the earliest presentations, when you first came into R-Corp, remember when it was the social module? You had to go through the customs area and get scanned to see if you had any weapons or anything on you before you could go in.
Oh,
in fact,
like
if you look behind the glass, your weapons and stuff were sitting back there. They got confiscated until you left. That was the idea. So I'm wondering, do you think that CIG is going to make it where these clothing things become maybe a true factor in the game? So now when you're wearing a 15% or a 12% armor, maybe, CIG talked about being able to smuggle weapons in, for example, right? Are you? Is that going to be a situation, or are people going? Do you see the future being people are always going to be able to run around with heavy armor on and two rifles on their back, running through cities? Is that a
I
thing?
don't see. I don't see them. I don't see them being able to wear that. If you like, maybe you got a mission or some kind of quest to go see a CEO of some company. They're not going to allow you to wear a full
Yeah,
armor
you're not going
set.
to walk into
I don't see
Hurston
that.
building with all that stuff on, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's my point. I'm saying I think that there will be situations. I'm not saying everywhere, but I'm saying that might be a case. Now look at what Bandicoot says. He says, "Will there be concealed carry?" That could be, right? There could be something, or you smuggle something in, right? I agree with you. I think it would be cool. How do you think players will react to that, though? Do you think players will? Because we have this thing where we get used to something being a certain way for a long time, and then when it changes, we lose our minds, only to
I
find out
foresee
that
some
it's not a
people.
big deal.
I can see some people complain and say, "I paid money for this suit. I should be able to wear it everywhere I want to wear it." I'm like, oh, okay, but
But do you
yeah,
think that if you give them a reason, Mhm.
or like you say, if they do confiscate it, I paid for that. I paid for that gun. I should be able to take it everywhere
I
I
didn't say it's
go.
confiscated. No, it's not confiscated. You check it
No,
in. There are
you check it
there are
out. Okay.
areas in those areas when you come in with your weapon, you check it in, and when you come back, you get it. That's how that works. It's not that it's being taken
Okay.
away from you, But I'm trying to expand the gameplay idea that CIG has long time ago talked about, right?
Yeah.
I think that if as long as you give players reason for something and they feel the reason is valid, they'll go for it, right? But if it's just doing it for the sake of doing it. So if you go into an urban area, if you go into microtech, you're not going to be freaking walking around with grenades and stuff on you. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That just
Yeah.
doesn't even make sense. But that's what they're able to do now, right? They're able to walk around with literally an ammunition rack on them, right? So I'm saying places like that, to me, it would make sense. You either leave that stuff on your ship when you're in the hangar, right? Put it in your lockers, change clothes, go into the city, do whatever you got to do. If you decide that you want to go in and create some havoc, then now you've got to figure out the ways the CIG has provided for you to smuggle something in, right? Maybe
Now
there's
before
go ahead.
before CIG implements all that stuff, they got to make sure that the ships that don't have working shoot lockers have working shoot lockers.
That's
That's nice.
that's pretty obvious. Yes, fastcart. Yeah, I would think that. Since I said they have to use their lockers.
Yeah, I'm just saying that they're not in the game yet.
I
so,
know. I'm
we-
saying in the future.
We don't know
we
when.
said in the future. This is in the future, not tomorrow. I'm just speaking in general. I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying it's in the future because all the reason why okay, maybe what I'm trying to do, fastcart, is connect the dots for people so that they understand why things are in the game. Like you just mentioned, the lockers. There are a lot of people who may not see the whole purpose of lockers, right?
Right.
That maybe lockers isn't just about storing an environmental suit. Maybe it's about also making sure that my casual clothes are in there. So when I go to Microtech, I've got some clothes to change into. That's what I'm trying to say, right? In the future.
Yeah.
And that could be a possibility, right? But CIG kind of alluded to that. Chris Roberts did years and years ago. Okay. Anything else in here that caught your eye?
2015.
We talked about the suit. Anything else?
The combat UI, the targeting pips and stuff like that. That would have been
Okay.
handy on Soul Station on Friday when I was taking out that guy, because
Yeah.
I was hitting this one guy and I couldn't really tell whether or not I was hitting until he exploded. That was my only clue.
I have not
So
heard.
that
I
would
know.
have been handy then.
I know there has been some hubbub about the pips that are in 0.9 right now. I know one of them is something about the sound that they make. I have not had a chance to go in and try it and play it. I don't know whether it seems like some people think that they're cool and some people aren't liking it right now.
What reason do they give for not liking it?
One of them is something about the sound. It makes some type of sound that evidently irritates everybody. I haven't done it, so I don't know. But there are a couple videos out there where people come saying that they're not thrilled about the sound. I know Active is one of the people who put out a video, and somebody else put out one I saw the other day. So maybe somebody in chat, if you guys have tested it out in 4.9, do you like the new aiming pips, or is it not? Is it too confusing? I know there's several different indicators that mean different things
There's
depending
like
on where
9
you're
of
using it.
them. Yeah.
Yep. So yes, the architect says it sounds cartoony. See. So I mean, if it's a
okay.
sound issue, they can address that. But thank you, because that's what I heard. It was something about the sound that people weren't that happy about. Battaglia is back in the game. Fastcart coming back, right?
Yeah.
In Nix, as a mission giver. and there's a bunch of new missions. And most of these missions, did you guys do some of these missions the other day, Friday?
Yeah, we did a couple of them, and she pops up on your screen when you accept the question, and she looks different now. So, like I'm used to, I remember how she used to look, and
Hmm.
now she has an updated face. So I
Okay.
appreciate that. But
Did they
for
up?
some people, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Some people what?
I was gonna say some people may prefer the old face. I'm okay with the new one. That's all I wanted to say.
Do you know? Have they updated? Is she in Nyx at
I've only seen her
Levski
with the
on the
on my
screen?
UI.
Only
Yeah,
on the
on the
screen?
screen.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I was wondering whether or not they put her back in and whether she looks like the person on the screen now or not. That's what I was wondering. So I haven't been over to Nyx either since this got implemented. So maybe we'll have to see. I thought that they said she wasn't coming in until 4.9. The new thing, whatever the new this patch coming up, the new patch coming up.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know if she's
Is
in
for
right now.
that's 4.9 in PT. No, not now. Well, yeah, PTU.
Yeah, no, that's what no, I know. I'm saying we're in 4.8 now. I'm saying I don't know if she's in the PTU right now or if she's in that next patch that's coming. You know how the second patch? Am I
Yeah.
you know the
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't that's what I'm saying. I didn't know which one she was being dropped in on. Okay, well that's fair. Yeah, Battaglia and distribution centers. I have not been to a distribution center in a while, and I miss distribution centers. I had a lot of fun in distribution centers. I was actually watching a video from the other day with John Crew and who else was in it? It was three guys that were talking, and they were talking. Oh, in Horst Thurston, and I forget the other guy's name, but they were talking about distribution centers and how distribution centers were originally designed so that you would have to land outside of them and then take a vehicle to get inside. And that does happen. There, if you go to one of the hostile ones, it is difficult to get inside of those. But the friendly ones, you don't have to do that. But I whatever enhancements they're doing to distribution centers, I hope it does kind of reinvigorate them because there were missions that people wanted to be able to do there, and some people. I just went like about 2 weeks ago, and I got attacked while I was there, but I got away. But I miss distribution centers. I really would love to see more activity take place at those locations. Did you ever do any distribution center missions?
I probably did. I don't. I'm always confusing which one is which. Like I just follow the crowd when it comes. So y'all say you want to do this. Yeah. So I probably done them, but I don't remember the
That's not good because
specifics.
that means it's not memorable. So that's not good if you don't
No,
remember.
just me. But I will say that this is one of the few ISCs that we've had this year. No, mostly this year has been behind the ship or SCL. This is
Hmm.
one of the few ISCs we got. So I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to having maybe more.
yeah. I think the last one was a patch report too that they did. So it was patch
Yes.
report, sprint report kind of thing. So okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, let's talk about that. I should have had the title up for that first. Star Jump Summit is coming up. Well, maybe I'll show the video first. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm flipping back and forth because I'm trying to remember what order I had this in. But Star Jump Grim is sponsoring an event in September called the Star Jump Summit. And we're going to show you guys his trailer. He finally got the trailer out there for it. And it's going to be in, I think, Columbus, Ohio. I'm going to be going because I went a couple of years ago there for Equinox, and it was a lot of fun meeting a lot of folks from the Midwest, and people came from actually all over for it. But this thing has been selling like crazy. So I'm going to show you the video real quick, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Oops. So there's the barcode for it. If you guys want to take a quick shot of that, if you're interested in getting information,
I'll put the
we
link.
also put the
I'll put the link. Yeah.
we also put the link in chat for you guys as well. But I'm going to also give you some details on this event. And these are the details. If it goes away, why is my thing acting goofy? Okay, there we go. This is going to be on Saturday, September the 12th at 12 p.m. Get ready to blast off at Star Jump Summit 2026, a Star Citizen focused community event taking place at Game Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Join us in person for an in-person bar citizen style experience at Star Jump Summit 2026. This is your chance to connect and have a blast with fellow citizens, participate in raffles, panel discussions, meet awesome people, and be part of an inaugural Star Jump Summit. We will have special guests such as Dusty Star from Thrusters and Dust, as well as Griffin Gaming RPG from the Soul Citizens. More special guests will be announced as we get closer to the event. Don't miss out. If you guys are anywhere near the Midwest, I would say if you know Star Jump Grim and his teams over at Star Jump Station have just done so much for the community. We really love supporting them. They are such great, great people. Ender, Starlet. I was going to say Starlight. I was getting the Miss Starlight in my head, and I was like, it's not Starlight, it's Starlet. Artorias, they're just great people, and so we just want to kind of hype their event because they hyped ours last year when we worked with Quantum Vegas, and this is an alternative. This is something different. If you were thinking about Quantum Vegas, well, this actually was the weekend we would have been doing the Quantum Vegas thing because it was a year ago, literally this weekend when we did it. So now you've got another event that you can take an opportunity to. For those of you guys who couldn't come out west, maybe you can come a little bit more toward the east and you guys can come out to Columbus, Ohio to support them. Now, I will tell you this. Their ticket prices are $55.20. There is a goodie bag that you can acquire. You will get with that as well. But if you can't come, I think he says he's got the goodie bags for like $25. He's got some really cool stuff in there. But I think he had 100 seats, and I want to say they only had like 15 left over. Something
I'm looking
like
at the
that.
site right now. It says few tickets left. They don't give me a number, but it says
Well,
few
he
tickets
said
left.
it on the show
And they
the
have
other
a fire
day.
icon.
Yeah, they gave a count the other day, and I think he said there were only 15 left. So they've sold 85 out of the 100. Now, the week before, Grimm did say that they did have some room to expand it, but they wouldn't do that unless they hit their 100 mark. So, you might decide to say, well, let me see what happens on my schedule. If he hits 100 and maybe if there's demand, they'll open up another 25. I think he said they could open up another 20 to 25 seats. But if you are interested, it says 6 left. Okay, thanks, Architect.
I don't see a number, but I believe you.
Yeah, well, that's what he's saying. So that's, again, it was 15 on Friday. So, or Thursday when he was broadcasting. So every time he goes on, more tickets go out the window. So if you're interested in going, I would say come. It's a great opportunity. There's no Citizen Con, quote unquote, this year. This might be a great opportunity to kind of hang out with some people from the community. And again, we just want to support him with that. FC, come on down from Boston, brother. You can come on down. You can make 2 trips.
Look at this game.
You can make 2 trips in 1 year. You can make 2 trips in 1 year. You say got to do another fundraiser, right? If we got to go down there too, right? Yeah. I'm gonna have to figure out how to squeeze all this travel in this year because this is the third trip.
Yeah, you doing something right after.
This is a third trip. Oh, I spoke way too quickly when I got excited when I heard he was doing it. It's like because I remember going to Equinox a couple of years ago and I wanted to do something that was with the community. I was going to go to Austin when they did the thing in July, but I couldn't work out the time and the airfare for that. And
this
so
will be your third trip in 2 months.
Yeah, 3 trips within a 2-month period. Yeah, and this one's not so bad. I mean, I've got to. I'm driving for this one, so it's not that big of a deal. A bunch of us loaded up last year. I think it was me, it was Ops Chief, it was Rad, and Aztec Sun, and we all jumped in the car.
How long did the car drive for you?
It was like 6 hours. It was like 6 hours total because we had to pick up Rads in Indianapolis. And that was kind of the only thing that kind of diverted us off a little bit because it would have been shorter if I went straight. But, you're sitting there with friends, you're all talking, and before you know it, time is gone.
You can come pick me up in Boston.
No.
Go back the other way.
No, you better get Captain Jones, Admiral. You better get one of those guys to drive you down. But no, we had a great time. And, we drove up that day, hung out, and drove back that night. We got back home about midnight or something like that. But it was just a full day, and it was a lot of fun. So anyway, just passing you guys out. Grim said no CIG people will be there. At least none are scheduled. That is correct as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, prisoner. Yeah, this isn't like any CIG people are going to be there. This is just going to be community people that are hanging out for it. This is like a really elaborate bar citizen, basically. Okay. So that's going to be coming up again on September 12th. So if you're interested, definitely grab a ticket. And then last but not least, fastcart. The sneak peek for this week. A jigsaw only a junkyard could love. What do you think it is?
Look at this again. So yeah, I saw it on Friday. It's at first I was like, "Oh, this is cool," and then I started joking. I'm like, "Ew, that didn't look cool at all." So it's a grade market. Like the week before, you had the grade market. So this is probably the same ship or however we want to put it. The green monitors kind of look retro. So yeah, grade market. I'm not interested.
Yeah. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff that came out this week. One of them was at the end of that ISC that we just watched. You guys heard Jared say, "See you at the bash next week." So we kind of saw that as a dropped hint that the basher, right? See you at the bash, the basher. So there may be, maybe this week coming up, there'll be a ships video about the basher. The other thing is that there was a lot of speculation about which ship this would be based around. And some of you remember the 2019 quote unquote leaked video from CIG that showed these makeshift ships. And one of them was based around an Aurora frame. The other one was based around a Mustang frame. And people have been trying to figure out which one of those it might be. But there was another image that came out this week that showed something a little bit different. And it's actually on the page for, thank you, Architect. Yep, the 4.9 loading screen. If you look on the right side of the screen, there's an article there that basically says that Drake is suing Gray's Market, because they have basically broken part of their contract. Evidently, they struck some deal that they could use Drake parts to do stuff, but Gray's Market went a little bit too far in their design. And there's an image there showing what the basher looks like. And it's kind of a funny piece because in the piece, you know, Gray's Market's response is basically like, it's nice to know that Drake is paying attention, and that's about it. They could care less, it seems like. So,
you know, the other funny thing is, it feels like a real life parody of the Crytek and CIG lawsuit in a way, similar.
Okay. I didn't say that, CIG. So just notice the fastcart was the one who said that. I did not say that. So anyway, it's something that they've got in the lore. If you want to see what it looks like, take a look at it. It is on the splash page on the PTU, and you can see what it looks like, and you can read that article for yourself. We'll see what we'll see. Fastcart and I were joking around about this ship last week. These ships are popular with people, weirdly enough. I mean, there's some people who don't like them.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, but there are people who actually, that Shiv, I'm telling you, there were people who were flying that Shiv around. Now, every once in a while,
I cannot get over the bucket. The bucket just kills it for me.
That's the one thing. Just that one thing keeps you from it. Huh? Just the bucket.
Not that one thing, but that's the priority thing.
What do you think about the design of the ship, though? I mean, not that. But what do you think about the idea of how they design those ships? Do you think makes sense? Do you think it's crazy?
I think
you
it makes
it's
sense.
Fun?
It'll be an inexpensive ship. I don't want to say cheap. Because I mean, well, no. In this case, I will say cheap. It's a cheap ship. So people
Do you think
in game can afford these ships who may not be able to afford like an Origin or what have you.
So here's you just raised a very good question. Should ship repair and maintenance be based upon the type of ship?
Yes.
Really?
Like if you have a grade market, it takes fewer or less expensive materials to repair. You have an Origin or a Crusader ship, it takes more materials and it's more expensive to repair.
Okay. All right. That is an interesting Yeah, that's an interesting piece.
and I'm shooting myself in the foot because I have a measurement, so that's an alien step. So that'll be even more expensive to repair compared to one of the main manufacturers, in my opinion.
What's the way to ask that? What's the way to answer that question? Should ship repair be based on? How would you say that? Should ship repair be based on ship
Class?
materials?
I don't know.
No, not class, because
Yeah.
class will be a little bit too different way of saying ship material and design. I'll say just material and design. Okay.
Importing brand new parts will be spendy, yeah.
All right.
Rarity,
So
no, rarity is not really a good word. I know you're talking about escape, but yeah, I don't want to say I wouldn't say rarity.
all right, I'm gonna start a poll. There we go.
Quality, that'd be a good
Yeah,
word.
quality, yeah. Should ship repair be based on okay, there we go. All right. So did the poll go out to you guys? I don't know.
It
I don't
is,
see.
yeah. I see. Yeah, the poll went out.
It did. I don't see where it's at. It's not popping up on my screen, so I'm glad you see
You got to
it.
go. Well, I'm in. Let me see if it's on the mod screen. Yep, it's on the mod screen too.
It is?
I know why
Okay.
you don't see it.
Yeah, but oh, you guys see it? Okay, as long as you guys see it, and vote. Okay, maybe it's just because I made it, I don't get to see it. So okay, that's kind of weird.
And I
all right.
voted.
Did you vote?
Do you see the results so far?
I have to bring it up. I have to actually
Okay.
like tell it to show me the results because
Okay. I can see what it said so far.
you can tell me. Go ahead. I'm more than willing to hear it.
Predominantly, yes. No one voted hell no yet, so I'm surprised.
Okay, that's fine.
I would expect at least one person to say hell no, just for the heck of it.
Okay, well, I mean, that's cool. I mean, if players are comfortable with that, I've got no problem with it. I was just very curious as to whether, some people feel like that becomes a sink, and they'll think it's unfair because if I've got like the F8, it costs more than me fixing a Drake Cuddy. What were you gonna say?
Apology to YouTube people. This poll is only on Twitch, so
Oh,
sorry about
yes.
that.
Yes. My apologies, gang. I apologize. I apologize for that. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's work under the assumption that this is probably the Gray's Market Basher. I am curious to see what this is, fastcart. There's only one in the series right now. I'm curious to see whether this is going to, how far CIG is going to push the design and whether the bucket becomes a mainstay. We'll see if the bucket becomes a mainstay.
I'm of two minds. I'm saying 50-50. They're going 50-50. There may be a bucket, or they may upgrade something to something
Yeah.
more. Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe to go from a bucket to a paint can. Yeah, maybe it'll be a
I'm
paint
hoping there
can.
won't be a bucket.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see. I don't know. You don't put a bucket in all of them. And people think, well, why'd they put a bucket in this one? Didn't put it in the other one. I don't know. Some people might like the bucket.
Do we know how many people? Is the Bashir supposed to multiple or single?
Don't know anything. Don't know.
Okay.
Don't know. I don't even know. Is the Shiv 2 people or 1? I have no idea. I honestly cannot remember what the Shiv was like when I went inside of it. Because I never flew it. Did I? No, I didn't fly it. I just walked around in it. Is the Shiv 1 person or 2 persons, you all, in the seats? Is there a co-pilot like the Cuddy, or is it just a single pilot?
I have not been in a
2.
field because I don't want to get a technical.
Thanks, Robert. Okay. Yeah, Robert says it's 2. Robert says it's 2.
Okay.
Solo has a turret control, but it's 2. Okay, got you. Okay. All righty. Well, that is the name of that tune. We are getting ready to go on our commercial break for 1 minute, and then we're going to take our 4-minute break, and then we're going to be back. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about our topic for this week, which is Crewed Up. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for doing the poll. It's good to see that people are kind of favorable to that idea. And yeah, we'll be back in just a minute. So get yourself something to drink and some snacks. See you in a bit. Hello. If you are watching us, as you know, that means you are one of our wonderful subscribers who support us, and we truly appreciate you guys being here. Once again, for those of you who may not have been here last week, we want to say a special thank you to those who gave to contribute to help Fastcart out with being able to attend the trip in Manchester in October. Thank you guys for just being so awesome, because you guys are awesome. Our show this week, let's talk about our show next week. We're going to be doing another one of the Lore Lighthouse shows on next Sunday. Serious Fun will be back with a new one for that, talking about what it means to have citizenship in the Star Citizen universe. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that on next week. Okay, we will see you guys in a minute. Take care.
On and on across the stars we fly, soul citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, on and on, on and on, on and on. Bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, 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 on and on, and all across the endless night, our soul citizens burn ever bright. And all across the endless night, our soul citizens burn ever bright. On and on across the stars we fly, soul citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, on and on, on and on, on and on. Our soul citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, and all across the endless night, our soul citizens burn ever bright. And all across the endless night, our soul citizens burn ever bright.
Abdi Johan, Captain Jones, Fastcart FC, GoMab ATL, GriffinGamingRPG, Jade Star Watcher, Karate, Colossal, Serious Fun, Summer Geo, Unique, Yo-Yo Man!
Hey, welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I am Griffin Gaming RPG, and I am joined by my good friend Fastcart FC. What's up, buddy? You good?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm good.
You
Having
good?
a good week. The weather had much improved. I'm supposed to get worse again sometime soon, but yeah, for now
Yeah,
it's fine.
yeah. We got a slight reprieve with this heat. It's nice here, but it got a little warm today. It was between like 85 and 90 here today, so I guess it's
I'll
slowly
take that.
creeping back up.
I'll take
Yeah, you take that.
that.
Yeah,
Compared
it
to
got
what we
pretty
had.
bad. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Listen, I do want to real quick go back. What was I going to say? Rastasan, thank you for that reminder, my friend. It's good to see you. I'm putting this in chat right now. I completely forgot to pump up. There is a Chicago Bar Citizen coming up next week on next Saturday at 6 p.m. There is the information. If you are in the Midwest and you're interested, there will be people from CIG attending this event as well. And so that's going to be next Saturday. I've already got my tickets, and I go several people here who are going along with me to that event. So if you're in the Chicagoland area or in the Midwest and you want to make the drive, and you want to come out to a Bar Citizen and support, I'd love to have you guys come out there. Tickets are pretty much going quickly, I would say, especially now because it's the week of. So if you're interested in going, make sure you check out that link. And hopefully, if you guys come by, make sure you say hi. Make sure you introduce yourself to me. And make sure you introduce yourself to me, because sometimes people go to me and they think that I know them and I just know your name on screen. So make sure you say, I'm so and so, and I'll be happy
Or have a
to see
name
you.
tag to say, my name is.
Yeah, well, they always have tags. Some people actually will
do?
put their real name on, and they'll come up and say, "Hey, Griffin," and blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah," and then they'll say, "Oh, I'm Citizen Ninja." Oh, okay, now I know who you are. So because they know who I am, I don't know who they are. So I always feel bad when that happens.
Hey, well, at least you don't introduce yourself as fast card, and someone say you're a fast card.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Drop Yogurt said they're sold out. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I should have pumped it up last week because I know there were still tickets available because they had put a letter out telling people that, if they wanted to get their tickets, they still could. So
And dang,
I'm
Griff,
sorry I
you
missed
are
that.
everywhere. You got 4 events now.
Yeah, well, this is easy. This is just me driving up the road a little bit for a half hour and I'll be there. But yeah, the other ones are trips. So yeah. Well, okay. Today we're doing a show called Crude Up, and we're talking about this because, yeah, we haven't had a really deep conversation about multi-crew. Some of this is based upon what CIG has talked about in the past, and then some of it is stuff that folks in the Soul Citizens community have kind of sat around and theory crafted with and talked about. And there's always been these questions of whether or not CIG is serious about multi-crew, right? Because you see these different streams and shows and they'll talk about, oh, you can solo as so-and-so, wink, wink. But I think that as time goes by, multi-crew is still going to become much more relevant. And I'm wondering whether it's going to become so relevant that people who thought multi-crew was going to be one thing find out it's something else. But we can kind of get into that. Fastcart, what multi-crew ships do you own? Do you own any multi-crew ships, or are you?
I own quite a few. I think I own more multi-crew ships than I own single. Yeah, I definitely own more multi-crew
Really?
ships than single. Yeah,
Really?
That's me, though. Hold
Really?
on. I can check real quick. Cause I mean, here I have 22 ships, so
Okay.
so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. It's easier to count the single seater. Hold on.
Okay.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I own 5 out of 22 ships. 5 of them are single seater.
Really?
17
That's interesting.
Multi-crew.
I did a count last week because I did a thing with Grim last Friday, and I actually found that I had almost 50-50 on mine. 50% were singles, or they could be singles. And that's interesting when I say single. What were you going to say?
And that's interesting because I know you followed that rule. You don't have a ship under $300. So.
Well, that's why I was going to say it's kind of funny. Okay, let me give you an example of what I mean by that. The ships that I had, when I say I don't own ships that are under $300 or $400, are standalones, because there are some ships I have that came in packages. For example, the Mega Exploration Pack has a 315 in it, it has a terrapin in it. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
And so I have those ships that are singles that fall into that category, right? But in my
Okay.
standalone category, I try not to have anything that's less than that because I feel like I can work for those type of ships, right? So let's define what we talk about multi-crew. And, you know, these are just general definitions. So please, we're not saying this is Bible, but we're just going to share with you guys a little bit about multi-crew. Multi-crew gameplay in Star Citizen is set as a set of mechanics that let multiple players meaningfully operate a single ship together, each taking on specialized roles that matter for the ship's performance, survivability, and mission success. It's one of the core pillars of the game's big ships, big field design philosophy, and recent updates have dramatically expanded what crew members actually do beyond just sitting in turrets. Now, for the longest time, fastcart, it was just the pilot doing something and somebody who was in a turret, right? That was kind of the thing. Engineering got introduced, right? Do you feel that it has had any impact? Do you think that some people do it? I mean, you got other ships out there with like loading weapons like torpedoes. You know, what do you think? Do you think that it's a thing that those roles are expanding, or do you think it's still kind of limited to just the pilot and maybe a turret operator?
I think it's something people are still getting used to. I can give you an example because on Friday on Soul Station, we were getting shot at in a Polaris, and eventually I was in a turret and it stopped working. I couldn't turn the turret, I couldn't fire the turret, couldn't do anything with the turret. Eventually, we figured out that maybe it's something wrong with engineering. Someone checked the engineering and discovered that the cooler was gone and several subsystems were damaged. So that's probably why we couldn't do anything. So I think people are still getting used to the idea of repairing and checking stuff out when something goes wrong.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I was listening because I was laying out the show, so I wasn't playing, I wasn't watching. But I heard at some point Serious Fun calling out repair times.
Yeah.
What was he doing?
He was checking. He was trying to repair the cooler, and I forgot the other thing. But one of them was like 4 minutes, and the other one was like 12 minutes. So yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So was he manually doing it with the multi-tool thing, or was he doing something else when he was repairing?
I was in turret, so I couldn't tell you. But
okay.
I think he was doing something. I think he was actively doing.
Actually doing it. Okay. All right. Because it was kind of cool when I heard that. I was like,
John
they're out there.
John Pig was there. He said, "Click and repair."
No. He said that before you were talking about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was talking about, he was responding to whether or not people are doing engineering. He's saying that only marginally because people they click the repair button. They don't really mess around. They don't really mess around.
Okay.
So he says Captain Jones had clicked on the one-time restart of components and he was just calling it out. Okay. So, I'll come to this next. Let me put the question out there, then we can talk about it afterward. Do you think that repair button should disappear on multi-crew ships? Because I thought it was a cool idea for single-seater fighters. You know, when you're just by yourself, particularly, but do you think that, and I know it only repairs a certain percentage, right? Do you think that it should be like multi-crew? You should have some people on there to help fix your ship? Or do you think it maybe just should only do it to a certain degree, maybe even a lower percentage? I know it's only a one-time click.
A certain degree seems reasonable because I mean, otherwise you would need a multi-crew on a multi-crew ship, right?
Okay.
But if you ask me what percentage that should be, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But
okay,
yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Let's look at a little bit more in this definition in here. What multi-crew gameplay is. At its heart, multi-crew gameplay means that large and medium ships aren't just big fighters. They're complex machines that require coordinated teamwork. Instead of one player doing everything, ships are designed so that, one, pilots fly and maneuver. Gunners operate turrets and weapons. Engineers manage power, repair systems, and handle damage control. Support crew handles scanning, logistics, refueling, salvage, medical, or cargo operations, depending on the ship. This transforms ships like the Carrack, the Reclaimer, the Hammerhead, the Starfarer, upcoming capital ships into cooperative platforms rather than solo experiences. Now, I would say in theory, yes. But I would say practically, no. And what I mean by practically, I'm not saying practically no, that can't happen. I'm saying practically that's not what people are doing. People will take a Starlight out by themselves. Yes. People will take a Starfarer out by themselves. Yes and no. right? I went out. I don't own a Starlight. I did a refueling mission by myself in a Starfarer, right? And that's like the type of ship that we would want, at least a second person on there with me, helping me, right?
Remind me, when CIG made that reference about you can solo the ship, what ship were they talking about?
They've said that about a
Remember?
bunch of ships. They've said that about a bunch of
No,
ships. They just
no,
not say that
but
about capitals. They'll just speak in general. They'll say capital ships. You could take it out
Okay.
as solo if you want to, if you want to,
No, I meant specifically the last example. I'm not sure if it was the Ironclad or not, but I thought about the Ironclad.
Well, I think
when
that
they
they're
mentioned it.
okay. Let's be really clear. When CIG says you can take a ship out, listen to what we're saying. You can take a ship out. That's
You can
all they're
take it. You
saying.
can.
Is you can take
Yeah.
a ship out. They're not going to stop
Yeah.
you from getting in the ship, turning it on, and pulling out of a freaking hangar. That you can take a ship out. Now, can you complete a certain mission? Can you complete a certain objective? Can you survive a battle? Can you survive tremendous damage to your ship? Those are the different questions that aren't being asked. And people hear that one single thing, you can solo a ship. But in gamers' minds, solo quite often means everything, right? Can I do everything? And I think that, well, I don't know. What do you think, Fastcart? When they say, yeah, you can solo a Idris.
I mean, yeah, when you say solo, they're putting the tongue firmly in cheek, as the saying goes. But so something more reasonable, is a matter of perspective. But something like an Ironclad, yeah, you could if you want to, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe
So-
for like a Wayland, sure.
Okay.
Sure, but yeah.
Hard question. Hard question.
All right.
If CIG said you can't, will that hurt their bottom line?
No, I don't think so.
So
People
if
still buy
CIG
it.
says you cannot solo a Idris, you don't think it'll hurt their bottom line?
I don't think so. People will say, I'm going to solo this anyway, somehow.
Okay.
I think people are hard-headed or they'll mess around and find out. They'll try to solo it, ignoring what CIG said, and then find out.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Let's see. Said there are ships you cannot solo. Would it hurt their hurt?
About it with the last poll was like 8-1. So yeah.
Who is that sending us? Trip Rodriguez. Hey, Trip.
Rodriguez, thank
How
you.
are you? Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to put
Welcome
this.
later.
Keep talking for me, Fastcart.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, all right. So, welcome, ladies. We're talking about multi-cruise ship or crewed up. I want to give a shout out to Ella May or Ella Mai. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, her name, but she was the one that came up with the song "Booed Up." So I'm guessing Griffin.
Funny.
Booed
Okay.
up.
Yep. So listen, folks, I just put a poll up there real quick. Take a quick look at it. If you can fill in the blank, right? If CIG were to say there were certain ships that you could not fly solo, if they like the Idris or the Polaris or whatever, do you think it would hurt their bottom line? Do you think that people still, like Fastcar said, would people still buy it? They just say, I'll figure it out or whatever. Or do you think people would be like, well, I can't. I'm not going to buy that ship. Yeah, Javelin too. Yeah, any of the big ships. Let's say from. I almost want to put the Perseus in there. I almost want to go from the Perseus. You know what? I am going to put the Perseus in there. Perseus
Yeah, why
up.
not?
Perseus
I was
up.
gonna say, why-
Perseus up.
Yeah,
Perseus up.
why wouldn't you want to put the Perseus?
No. I'm just because it's kind of like that bridge area for me. But I get it. I'm going to put the Perseus in. So Perseus up. Perseus, Polaris, Idris, Javelin. And of course, we already know the freaking Odin. We ain't got a question about that. Okay. All right. So,
the Bego carrier, retribution.
yeah. Anything that you talk about. Now you've got these other categories here. That we'll talk about. We're going to break these categories down because some of these categories are not things that you can do currently. What were you going to say?
Poll
Pastor?
is closer than I expected so far, so that's interesting.
Okay. What we got?
You got 354 for 374. So yes, it's 3, maybe it's 7. No, it's 4
Okay. That's
so
fair.
far.
All right. That's fair. Trip, hope you had a great stream. Thank you as always for sending your
Oh,
loved
let me
ones
get my
over.
side out. My bad.
We appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. We were in the middle of getting the poll together. But thank you, Trip. We appreciate you and hope you're doing well. While Fastcart's doing that, let me talk about these other crew roles while engineer. Okay, this is engineering. While engineering is the newest and deepest edition, multi-crew gameplay also includes turret gunners, bridge crew, medical officers, refueling operators, salvage operators, cargo, utility crew people, science and exploration roles. Okay, Fastcart, out of all these things here, what do we know that's active right now? Which ones are the ones that we know people are doing?
Turret gunners, salvage people, mining people. We don't have that up there, but mining people too. I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, I know that some people do medical stuff, but I don't know anyone personally who does medical stuff. I know some people who do refueling stuff, but I don't know anyone. Well, no one person.
Is there a ship that you know of that utilizes a lot of this stuff?
Like the Hammerhead, the Polaris, the Pursuit.
Well, I mean, which ship? No, which ship does the most? Maybe I should put it that way. I don't want to do it that way. Which ship on here utilizes the most of all of these to you? Is there a ship that literally does more than two things? More than two, at least.
Ooh. Polaris, maybe? Because you have the turret gunners, you have the people on the bridge, you have the people who repair. You don't have repair on here, but yeah, repair. So yeah, the Polaris, and maybe the Purpose too, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay. So I would say I think the Polaris could be one because you got the two torpedo loading people that might be loading, depending on how if they're doing it right. I would also say the Reclaimer. You get a pilot. That's one seat. I don't think, unless I'm wrong, y'all, because back in the day in the Reclaimer, the co-pilot had to be the one to operate the destructing beam thing. If that's still the case, then that's two. If you have laser operators, you need a laser operator. That's three. And then there are people down in the cargo hold who are loading and pulling stuff out of things. So that's four. That's the one ship that I've seen players, like all the four of those roles are happening. Even though I know people who do it with two people, but I'm saying in general, I have seen groups of at least four crew people working on that particular ship. Polaris, I can see it probably at least three. Technically the Carrack, but I'm flying that solo. I don't care what they do. Okay, so the Carrack, I've known the Carrack to have the Carrack doesn't have the other function areas. So you have the pilot and the turret gunner. So that's still only two things on the Carrack as far as I know of. I don't know if any of these other areas.
And the poll ended, but I don't see the result.
Yeah, it was still saying maybe was the big number. It was at 47% when I looked at it last. Okay. Yeah, so these other areas that need to open up now, right? Because you talked about mining, right? That was another area. But these other areas, like where science and exploration is, for example, cargo utility, I've seen that operate a little bit, but people do dual roles in that. Like you'll have a pilot, but maybe you'll have one or two other people who are doing the loading. Right, so that's just
like
someone
has to load a freight elevator and come back, and
or load the freight elevator, or just even if somebody's pulling from the freight elevator and another one's attaching, right? That's maybe two people, but still, those two same people might also be the two people who will be turret gunners when they're inside the ship, right? So that's kind of a dual role there, right? Refueling operators, I mentioned that earlier. Starlight you can do by yourself. Starfarer, I've known people to do it by themselves. I've done it by myself, right? Even though I don't feel comfortable doing it, but that one should be probably a couple people in there. And then we're going to get into this logistics stuff. So let's move on to that. Why multi-crew matters. Multi-crew gameplay is what makes Star Citizen large ships feel like real vessels with real teams. It creates team-based missions, specialized roles with depth, high-stakes coordination, emergent gameplay such as fires, system failures, boarding actions, and reasons to own or crew big ships. It is also a major differentiator from other space games. Few titles attempt this level of internal ship simulation. This is all in theory, right? Are we here yet, or are we still getting there?
Still getting there, definitely.
yeah. We got a ways to go still, right? If these things were in place, do you think that the people would feel more, that multi-crewing would feel more more meaningful? Do you think people would do it? Or do you think it would actually be too much? Do you think players are
That's
ready to immerse
interesting
at this
because
level?
that's interesting because I mean, whenever you talk about multicultural or different roles, that group of people say no one wants to do that. Everyone wants to be the captain of their own ship. People will only fly single seater. I think when this stuff comes out, and I haven't seen that to be true yet, but who knows when we get like 1,000 people or like or maybe like 2,000 people on a server. So that'll
Hmm.
be interesting. Because right now, there's in the Star Citizen as today, it's more definitely more cooperative. But who knows when the lone moves will come out? So I'm
Do
not sure.
do you think that Star Citizen has created a culture of single player attitude versus multiplayer attitude? Cooperative. Let
No,
me say it
because
that way. Single player versus cooperative. That's what I want to say is cooperative. Cooperative gameplay. Now I know cooperative could be
no,
people being in their own single ships, but I'm talking about
right.
cooperating in a multi-crew scenario.
And I don't think I think CID is promoting a cooperative gameplay because they have all these multi-crew ships, and they keep saying, especially when it comes to repair and stuff like that, you're gonna need people on your ship to help you repair and stuff like that. So I think they're trying to promote a cooperative feel, but I think some of the people have that single player, not single player, solo gameplay mindset that
Yeah.
it's how to break some people out of.
Something that Jade said here is important. She says, yes, because they've lacked social tools. That has been a factor. Social tools are the way you bring people together. And if there's no reliable social tools, I mean, even if it's just being able to group up properly or communicate properly, there's a problem. And when I say the CIG promoted, I don't mean like they're actively promoting it. I'm saying the world that they've created by allowing people to solo so much does not promote the multi crew, and the multi crew doesn't get promoted because the mechanics aren't there. Okay, give you an example, and we're going to talk about this in the next section that we're going to go into. Right, team based missions, right, specialized roles, high stakes coordination, emergent gameplay. Right now, when engineering came in, there was this idea that people would start maybe starting to do engineering stuff, right, but that's been pulled back a bit, right.
Hmm.
Remember, the ships were volatile in the beginning, right? I mean, ships caught fire. Just because you coughed on them, they caught fire, right? Um, and and but the fact that people can still do like 80% of what the ship does on their own,
Yeah, right.
because we haven't brought those other mechanics in and made those mechanics important or mandatory. I think that that's what I mean by when I say they're creating a certain. If you came into the game right now and didn't know all this was on the table, you would think this is the way Star Citizen is supposed to be, right?
And to your
So.
point, people are doing
Mhm.
80% of that stuff and doing it to an extent that they feel comfortable with. Like
Yeah, exactly.
if they would ask them, they would be okay if this was in 1.0 rather than just game testing right now. They would probably want that to be the way it is right now to be in 1.0.
In 1.0, yeah. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about what CIG did talk about. And there's some things that we've talked about too. Okay. And we're going to pick these different roles. We know that there's a pilot. We know that there's a turret person. So we're not going to talk about those because everybody's familiar with those already. But let's talk about what are some of these other seats that are on your ship. There are other areas on your ship that have things. And we're going to talk about some of those right now in ways that CIG has either inferred, talked about, or even we could talk about suggesting. A co-pilot, fastcart. Why don't you read that one for me?
Co-pilot in a multi-crew Star Citizenship isn't just the person in the other seat. They can be a systems manager, navigator, tactical assistant, an engineer light, and mission coordinator depending on the ship and situation. The game doesn't hard code co-pilot duties, but the mechanics strongly support several meaningful roles.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty straightforward stuff, right? Co-pilots, one of the mechanics that is there now is that co-pilots on several ships can actually fly them now, right? And some of them they can handle some type of weapons like torpedo launches, right? Missile launches, things like that. I don't know if you can still do this now, but there was a time when co-pilots could actually call for hangars at one point. I don't know if that's in there now. Does anybody know if that's still there? Where at one point you could call for the hangar? This was a while back. I haven't had been in a co-pilot seat to try that in forever. I don't know if that's a thing or not. Um, but let's talk about some other things about a co-pilot. All right. some core co-pilot duties, right? There's things like power system management, where the pilot, if the pilot can be busy flying and fighting, the co-pilot can optimize internal systems. This is what could be a coordination between a pilot and a co-pilot, right? They could be working together, allowing a pilot to actually focus more on flight and orientation, particularly if they're flying a ship that has turrets, and not have to worry about dealing with their MFDs. Okay, all they have to do is say what they need. Co-pilot's there to assist with that. Adjusting power distribution between shields, weapons, and engines. I've done this in the past. I remember on the Connie in particular, fastcart, when I was be out with people fighting, I would adjust the shields to wherever they needed to go. If the shields were weakening on one side, so that my pilot could focus in on flying. And I could see whether or not the shields were going down on the port side, I could adjust power to it. So things like that could be done by a co-pilot. Toggling coolers and shields, avionics during combat. Now, I don't want to get too much into the engineering area, but that's some of the things as well. I'm going to skip down a couple of other. Let me see anything you want to talk about before I move on to the other ones.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, because I'm not going to go through all this stuff because I actually cut this back a little bit because it gets to be a bit crazy. Let's talk about somebody like a weapons officer. Somebody who could oversee and control missile racks or secondary weapons. They could lock targets for the pilot. They could switch weapon groups or fire modes, and this also turns the cockpit into a two-person combat platform. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. You know how in the Polaris, you've got like the person who, down launches, the torpedo area down there. You would have coordination between that person and the pilot. Now, I know that there are some people who are not going to like what I'm about to say. But like that Idris, the pilot should not be able to fire that weapon. That's my feeling. That's my feeling. That's my feeling. A ship that big, that large, that is the last thing that pilot should be doing. To me, you have a weapons officer. Y'all know all them chairs are on that bridge. They need to be put to use. You need to have a weapons officer on that ship that has a screen that can see when that pilot is turning the ship and orienting it in a certain direction and preparing it. That weapons officer can see the exact same thing from their position, and they coordinate that to fire that weapon. That way they can pay attention to cooldown times and all the other stuff, and the pilot can focus in. That weapons officer can say when the weapon is ready, all this other stuff. Now, I know there are some people who they want to be able to do it all, but it makes absolutely no freaking sense on a ship that big that they be worrying about that big gun while they're also worrying about firing.
I can give you a good example. Like in the Star Trek universe, like especially TNG, you have a small ship like a runabout or shuttle. The pilot and co-pilot can do everything between those two people. You get a ship like the Enterprise D. You have Worf control the weapon. You have Wesley flying. You have Data doing
navigation.
Navigation and stuff like that. So the bigger the ship, the more people you need. So yeah.
Absolutely. And what this would do now is require those ships to have somebody who's willing, and it also gives other players opportunity to do stuff. Not to be funny, but it is terrible when people say, "Oh, we're bored." Well, yeah, you're bored because there's only the pilot on there and a turret gunner. That's it, right? When you've got 6 other people on there who could take these positions, right, and man those positions, right, which would be great.
And you can guarantee when a certain situation comes up, those other people will not be bored then. But
Well, you've also got this new thing now with us being able to put down ammunition on cargo decks and stuff like that. So if you get someone who literally starts having to move those and this is what I'm hoping CIG does, to be honest with you, I'm hoping that what they'll do is make it so that there's certain areas on the deck that are for the ammunition to be at, where it's drawn from, and other ones that are just regular cargo positions, right? So as those boxes run down, you have to pull boxes from another area to reload. In other words, I don't want the whole grid to be that way, right? Because then people can just load up their whole grid and they've got eternal ammo, right? But there should be. Now you've got somebody else who's downstairs working in the cargo area, making sure that ammunition is being loaded, right? I know some people.
That was one of the jokes or references CIG made with the order. And they say, "Oh, you can load your whole cargo with your torpedoes if you want to."
Yep. So even with the weapons racks and ships like the Polaris, the torpedoes and things like that, and now you see CIG is coming up with these racks and stuff. You should be able. This should be a loading process. Sure, I'm not saying everything has to be loaded individually, right? But once you fired off your 10 or whatever torps, there needs to be somebody else who's reloading stuff like that, right? So weapons officer to me is a great person to coordinate with a pilot of a ship. Okay. Engineering. Let's go back and revisit that fast cart. Why don't you read that one?
Engineering and damage control. With the engineering systems rolling out, monitor heat, power relays, fuses, component wear, perform on-the-fly repairs, manage fire suppression, reroute power network to keep critical systems online, handle internal damage during boarding or hull breaches. This becomes one of the deepest co-pilot roles in the game.
Okay. So this is like, and it's actually, we want to kind of move this from the co-pilot more into someone who's actually doing engineering. This is the Scotty person, right?
Yeah.
The person who's at the panel, has the station. And it's funny because you've got some ships that have literally engineering panels, and that's fine. I think anybody who's on the engineering team possibly could access that. But I think that there in certain ships, like the Polaris, ships like the Idris, Javelin, any of those ships, they literally have sitting workstations for people like this, who this is what they are doing. Some of you guys remember in Star Trek, Scotty actually had a position on the bridge. There was communications, there was science, but there was engineering. It was on the right side of the elevator. But he also worked down in engineering. But he could control and talk to his people from the bridge. And I think that that would be something that CIG, that's why I say you have panels that are throughout the ship, that's fine, but there should be that main console that overall sees everything on the ship, right? And it needs to be a big one, not that little bitty screen. It needs to be something kind of big. Yeah.
And here's the difference between me and Griffin. He identified more with Scotty. I identified more with LaForge. So that's the difference between generations.
Well, you know what? But see, LaForge, but interestingly enough, the reason why I said Scotty is not because I identified with him. It's the fact that LaForge did not have a position in the bridge. He was always down in engineering.
No,
was he?
He came up. He came up to the bridge every so often in the latest season, just like Scotty did. He was a role on the middle left.
Really?
To Scotty, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I've forgotten. Then that was the only reason why I picked him. But if he did have a position up there, that's great.
Yeah.
Then that's fine. Yeah, but you get my point. There should be that command position, and then of course whatever's down in engineering, right? That would be kind of cool, right? He had a terminal in the back. Okay, all right. You and Fastcart verified it then. Let's see. There's something I was going to say about this one. Obviously, engineering is also possibly a team of people. It doesn't have to be just one. Sometimes it could be just one person on a ship. Other times it could be several people. That fire suppression thing is a real big one for me. I'm hoping the CIG gets that balanced out really well, because you don't want fires just to happen for the heck of it. You know what I mean? But I would want us that an engineer could actually tell, like, we're getting close to the point where a fire is going to happen, right? Not that it just breaks out, but that you can actually tell if I don't do this, that, and the other, this power plant or whatever is going to probably, ignite or something along those lines. Okay. It was something else I was going to ask you about. No, okay, maybe not. I'm blacking out here. Salvage tractor beam operator. Salvage tractor beam operators in Star Citizen is a crew member responsible for extracting, moving, organizing, and securing salvage materials and ship components during salvage operations. Operators use tractor tools to detach and retrieve intact ship components. Tractors contain containers into the ship's cargo hold, clears jams and auto eject bays, especially with the Vulture or the Moth, stacks crates efficiently for maximum cargo capacity, and ensures safe placement to prevent movement during flight. Fastcart, by the way, I didn't say this earlier. The reason why I didn't have anything on here about mining is that mining is like kind of one of the fleshed out things that people already know. I'm trying to expand more into the areas that people have not given greater consideration to. Yeah. Either because they aren't doing it or because CIG has not put those things in the game yet, so that people will know that this is kind of the direction they want to be able to go. A lot of people who've done the Vulture, who've done the Reclaimer, I've seen people do this on Polarises. There's a lot of loading and unloading, right? Especially recently, you were into it with the Raft, but you were soloing it, right, when you were doing it, right? The Raft is a soloable ship, even though it does have room for, I would say it's a two-person. I would say it's a two-person operation. I'm talking about if it was fully fleshed out. Two people, right?
Yeah.
Because you could have a pilot and you could have somebody working the tractor beam in the back, right?
Right.
Ships like the whole B uh, two-person operation,
Yeah.
maybe
The
three.
Hermes. Yeah.
The when you get to the Hermes is a two-person for sure. You get to with the whole C, now you start getting into to me like more of a 3 to 5 person. I'm just saying the range,
Yeah.
3 to 5 person.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. Does having multiple seats in a ship warrant that you have that many people on it? Do you think? Like a Cuddy, for example. A Cuddy has 2 seats. Does that mean you should probably have 2 people? If you're doing something. I ain't talking about just a fly from here to there.
Yeah. If you're doing something, probably. Like I'm thinking of the Super Hornet is one of the earliest two people ships, along with the Freelancer. Oh, Fizz. I don't know how to pronounce that. Fizz A2K. Thank you for the subscription.
Oh, yes, thank you.
That.
Absolutely.
But the Super Hornet is especially the Mark One was a two person ship, and back then, we had
God.
another raid.
Carbon tails.
Carbon tail. Thank you. Thank you for the raid.
Hey,
But yeah,
guys.
trying to make
Thank you,
my point
guys.
real quick. But
Sure,
thank
go
you. So the Super Hornet, you had one person controlling the turret while the other person flies. The Buccaneer or the Hurricane, one of them. I forget which one. But yeah, that's also a two person ship where one person controls the firing, the other person try to line up the ship to be fired. So I can see that. I've that's been in the game for ages. So
Yeah. Yeah. And there are some people who do take advantage of it. Like I fly the Scorpius. I love flying the Scorpius, but most of the time when I go out with the Scorpius, it's not that often that there's somebody who's like doesn't want to fly. Most of the time people want to fly their ship, right? Their fighter or whatever. But I have no problem with somebody says, "Hey Griff, can I jump in and be your gunner?" I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic if that's the case, right? But when we start getting into these larger ships, these particular people, this role here is really important. I was out with, I think it was myself, Paradise, and CC, I think it was, and we were in the Raylan, and it was so much faster when CC and I would go outside and load it. I mean, like a full load. We loaded it like so quickly with 2 people, right? And matter of fact, I was using the tractor beam and he was outside. I was using the shift tractor beam plus outside.
Okay.
So the coordination of having multiple people cut down a load time for what may have been like 12 minutes to like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we were done. So it was great doing that. And we had a blast doing it. Right. And I know a lot of times people are driven by the money, right? If I don't have a crew, I make more money. Right, but your risk level goes up when you're by yourself because you're out there on the ground, vulnerable longer.
But you just proving that you make more money with more people because you can do it faster.
Because you get it faster in time, right? In time.
Like compared to 12 minutes and 4 minutes, that's like a third of the time. So you get 3 times faster.
And but that's the balance thing that CIG has to work out, right? So that people don't feel that if I do it by myself, it's it's better, right? That's all a part of balancing just as much too. Let's move on to this next one here. The cargo beam loader. We touched on this just a little bit here. This crew member is responsible for physically moving, stacking, organizing, and securing cargo. They may also use the Grey Cat Max Lift or the multi-tool tractor beam for smaller items, or the ATLS power suit, a specialized exoframe built for heavy lifting and precision tractor beam work. This role exists because larger ships and cargo hubs increasingly rely on manual cargo handling rather than automatic grid snapping. This is one of those things that I was hoping was going to start happening at distribution centers, right? You would get missions where do you remember how distribution centers are, right? You come in from outside, then there's like these garage doors that open up and you have to go inside. The only things that we've ever had really to do in there on a large scale was PvP missions, right? There'd be some gang in there. You had to go in there and kill everybody, and there was a boss, and you had to shoot them, and that was it, right? There was really no mission of going in per se, which we saw in the demonstration, going in and saying, you got to go in and pull 32 SCU or 68 SCU of something, bring it out, load it into your ship, right? Now, they do have missions where you just go to the elevators, the external elevators, and drop things off. But I would have loved to have been in a situation where you had to get on a tractor or something. And mind you, we don't have what's the little thing with the forklift, the mule, you know,
Yeah.
that's when a vehicle like that would have been important to go in with something like that, drive into the building, get to,
The vehicle no one uses anymore.
one
It's
SUs.
just a token.
Well, it's not that nobody uses it. It doesn't function. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do, right? The forklift
Right.
doesn't work, right? So
Right.
you're supposed to be able to put 2 1 SCU boxes on there. So it would be great to have your Cuddy Black come off the back with the mule, go inside, get your boxes, come back out and load them up, right? Those type of things to me is when multi-crew would be great, right? You've got somebody, that's what that second person that's on your ship is doing, right? While you're sitting outside, making sure nobody's messing with your ship, right? But that's why I'm saying when these things aren't in the game, then people do feel like I can go there with my Cuddy, go there by myself, go in by myself. It just doesn't, the gameplay's not there, right? In theory it is, but the mechanics just aren't in place for it, The prisoner says money isn't a priority. And for some people, it's not. There's nothing wrong with that. The prisoner. Some people's priority is the experience, or just the fact that they accomplished doing something. Right, the money becomes the side thing. And there are other folks that are,
And some people just want to be alone. They just want to they want to deal with the aspect of dealing with other people because some people may find themselves to be more reliable by solo compared to being with other people, or they just don't have the time to deal with someone. It'll take me 20 minutes to get ready, and then we can do the mission.
See, I still have issues with that. I was listening to CIG the other day talking about that. Yeah, it'll take 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Don't get me on that high horse. Don't get me on that high horse.
I didn't mean to, but yeah, that is what
it takes people 15 to 20 minutes because they ain't prepared. That's why it takes people 15 to 20 minutes. But it has nothing to do with the game mechanic. If y'all would load y'all ships up ahead of time, buy your ammo ahead of time, buy your med pens ahead of time, but I understand. But I understand that when they sometimes do that and they lower their ship back into the hangar and it comes back unknown. Because their ship is gone and all their stuff is gone, they're frustrated, right? And that makes sense. I understand it. I really, really do, right? But I know, like, when people tell me we're going to meet up somewhere, I do my best to have all my stuff on me ahead of time.
Me too. I try. Sometimes I fail.
Yeah,
Especially
but it is
like a
what it is.
PTU build and you just you didn't know there was a new build until like you just log in.
Yeah, and you're coming in fresh. Yeah, you're coming in fresh. CC Creator says I'm triggering him right now, so okay, I won't pick on nobody. I won't pick on anybody. Okay, but yeah, I think that this is going to be probably the next area that's going to become more important on the bigger multi-crew ships. Those people who are and these people could be the people who are loading torpedoes, into torpedo bays, loading ammunition boxes, whatever's needed, right? And also, we talked about the people who are doing repairs and stuff. Let's see our last category, because this is going to be a lot of stuff tonight, y'all. So we're going to hit this last one here. Fastcart, why don't you hit that very last one there?
So this is the primary job: moving cargo boxes, components, salvage crates, and containers, stack items manually, even outside grid zone, position cargo precisely inside ship bays, offload cargoes at stations, outposts, or service facilities, organizing cargo bays, a cargo loader, ensure the ship cargo area is efficiently packed, balanced for flight, clear of obstruction, and ready for rapid unloading at destination. Okay. And one thing I want to point out here is people, I don't want to say it's a meme, but it kind of is a meme, but the game of playing Tetris with your cargo, that's a real thing.
Yes. No, have you ever done, have you had situations where you literally had multiple different things that had to go to different locations?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. I try to be efficient with that, put it that way.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so because there are some missions where everything is the same thing going to the same place, and then there are some missions where they will tell you got to do 6 of these over here, 7 of these over here, 8, and each one of those items is different, right? So the area I want to go into here with this is there's 2 things in here that get mentioned that are not happening in the game right now. Logistics is one of them, which you just said, Fastcart, right? Paying attention to what's being loaded, right? And how it's loaded. But the other thing was balanced for flight. Do you remember CIG talking about that at one point?
Yes. long time ago, but yes, I remember that.
Could you tell folks what that meant?
Oh, basically, it's like a normal physical ship in the real world. You want to be balanced for like your cargo want to be balanced because if you know you're going to keep people on one side of the ship or like one part of the ship, you're going to keep cargo in another part of the ship. You want that place to be balanced so that the ship doesn't like capsize or turn over or just easier to maneuver and get around stuff.
And Robert Vose says something here in atmospheric physics for flight. CIG actually talked about the fact that you could overweight your ship in certain situations. So balance for flight is not only, like fastcart said, placing things in the ship so that you're not too heavy in the back or too heavy in the middle, or well, not the middle, but the front. But it's also about, if you're on a certain planet, gravity level is a certain way, and let's say you've got a Hermes that can hold almost, 288 SEU, something like that, almost 300 SEU. Some of y'all know how y'all say, ooh, I can squeeze a few more boxes in there, right? And they're not on the grid.
I've done that.
So one, they're not on the grid. Secondly, depending on the type of cargo, CIG has talked about all the different types of cargo. We've had these in the past. Some cargo is volatile, right? It will destroy or explode or get damaged or shift around on the ship. Wait, go ahead, Fastcart.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so the volatile stuff is it is volatile. You want to load that last so you can get that out first. That'd be
well, no, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because if it's the last thing that you're dropping off and you're dropping off multiple things, you might load that to the fore, right? But I'm talking about loose. No, but I'm talking about stuff being loose. I'm talking about stuff being loose, right? So you don't want to have an explosion or anything like that, or your Hermes is powered to be able to lift itself off, off of a planet, or I won't say a moon, a planet, or someplace with gravity a certain way. And so now you've overloaded the ship and your ship cannot take off, right? So that's a whole nother level of gameplay that we're not seeing right now. So right now people can just throw as many boxes into the ship that they can cram in. You saw the Reclaimer. I saw pictures of the Reclaimer that had the cargo deck underneath full, the mid deck where you pull the boxes full. Then I had, y'all remember the catwalks on top? They had boxes stacked on the catwalks up top. I mean, it was completely full. Yes.
Griffin, the C2 is another one like that. People fill up those walkways supposed to go in between the aisles and the cargo grid. They fill up the walkways in between.
Whoa, stop. On the C2. Oh, you mean the general areas in between?
Yeah,
the gaps. Yeah. The gaps are one thing, but you put it on the catwalks, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, they literally beam the boxes up above them and put them on the catwalks, All
right.
Yeah. So I don't get me wrong. You're right. That's stuff that's off grid, right? And that's the stuff that later on, and CIG said this, they said you could do that if you want to, but you may end up damaging your ship or whatever in the process. Like we don't have internal damage.
Or just losing the cargo because it falls through because it's not on the grid.
Fastcart, quit talking about bugs. That's a bug. I ain't talking about a bug. That's a bug. Yeah, but you're right. Right now, if you do that, that could happen, right? By something to bounce around and may not go out. Yeah. So anyway, you guys get the point. We're just saying that because a lot of these mechanics aren't in, there's no demand and players don't do certain things. But, we hope that CIG is still on the plan. It seems like they still are, that these are the areas of the game that they want us to be able to do that will flesh out multi-crew. But until these things are there, Fastcart, there's no reason for the players to do it. I don't blame the players. I'm just saying there's no reason to do it, right? You can work around it. And I am curious whether or not when restrictions do apply, right? When weight becomes a problem, right? When volatility becomes a problem, I hope players will say, oh, okay, I get it. This is cool. Some people might feel frustrated, right? Because they can't.
Yeah, a lot of people may feel frustrated, but
they may not. They can't stuff much stuff in there. Or instead of what used to be one trip becomes two trips, right? Because I used to be able to cram everything in here on one trip, but now
bring the right ship for the job.
Right tool for the right job. Right tool.
Yeah.
Right tool for the right job. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, we're gonna wrap it there, guys. We just kind of want to go through this overview of multi-crew, and I know, like I said earlier, there's a lot of folks that There's no reason to do a lot of this stuff. Some people role play it. Some people do it for their own personal satisfaction. I'm a grid person. I'm one of those people that I make sure everything's on the grid. I usually don't like just stack something to the max. I actually pay attention to how many boxes, and to Fastcart's point, I try to say, which ship is the right tool, what's the appropriate thing to do stuff.
I didn't have a choice with that because I was using a Hermes and it had 288. I just had that one box that
oh yeah, you got one box. Yeah, I mean one or two
one
boxes.
box.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. No, I get it. But there are some folks, man, they gonna make sure that every aisle is everything is filled up on those ships, which is hilarious.
The
It's
co-pilot
actually funny.
Hey, co-pilot
Yeah.
had something in it.
Oh, dude, not to be funny, but I remember I would take put a one SU box. I hated doing this. I'm an aesthetics person, right? If something don't look right, it messes with me. But you remember the C8R, the ambulance? I'd cram a SCU box inside of that thing, right? And you have to walk around it when you get in the ship and stuff. I'm like, trying to figure out ways to do my looting and keeping a box on that ship. But anyway, that's another story. We hope you guys had a good time with us today. And you guys said a lot of cool things in the chat. We were paying attention. We were just kind of trying to cover all the information here. Fastcart, is there something else?
Yeah, the Q&A.
Oh, that's what it was. Q&A. Yeah. Have we got anything for the Q&A today?
Yep, we have a question from Admiral Kusanagi.
Okay.
Admiral Kusanagi asked, do you think CIG wavers too much on what space sim is to many people based off what they said earlier? Like, so CIG said something earlier. People try to say, but CIG said, or CIG promised. Yeah, do you think too many people... you think
there is
too much on what they said?
There's a great video I just posted today by Captain Katarn, and he kind of talks about this a little bit. Now, I know some of y'all may not like this, but it's a reality to me. And his comment was that every game in game development, when they propose a game, they say this is what they want to be able to do. But as the realities of building a game come out, whether it's technology, direction, input from community, that there's probably no game that ever is the exact same thing as it was when it was pitched. If any of you guys know anything about movies, anything about film, and even if you don't know anything about film, go back and look at an original script of a film and then go watch and see what the movie looked like at the end. It is never what the original script said. Very rarely. I'm talking about the original script, not the rewrites, not the final draft, the original pitch. Do you remember what Luke Skywalker's name was, Fastcart?
Luke Skykiller.
It was Skykiller, right? It wasn't even Luke. It was something else, Skykiller, right?
But yeah, okay.
The Empire was not called the Empire. They were called something else. The Jedi, rather. The Jedi was called an entirely different name. I can't even. It was such an obscure title that I don't know what the heck it was, right? But in the end, you had this other product, and it was very different from George Lucas's original draft of Star Wars. In fact, it wasn't even called Star Wars. It was called The Star Wars. It wasn't A New Hope.
It wasn't A New Hope.
Right?
It wasn't
A New Hope. Right. But in the end, it became something else. Now, it's really interesting that you say this, Fastcart, because remember when George Lucas remastered his films?
Special edition, yes.
Special edition? Do you remember what the reaction was of the fans?
George Lucas said you shouldn't mess with work once it's finished.
Right. And what was the reaction? And what was the reaction of the fans when he remastered it?
We like the original one better.
Yeah.
It's too. I forget what the exact complaint was, but it wasn't what it was. Put it that way.
Yeah. And
for me, some aspects he did improve. Like I like the stuff he did with Tatooine and Cantina, but and the special effect that was fine. But sometimes it just went overboard.
Yeah. So let me give you a parallel to that. George Lucas's original vision, and George Lucas was a great visionary, but he was terrible as a director. He's not that great as a director. He does okay. But they're better people. His better films are done by better directors, right? So he does back. Right. So he does the original film, And then everybody likes the original thing, right? The very first version, the people who came up with that. But then later on, he goes back and remasters it because he said, it's not the complete vision of what I wanted. I wasn't able to do everything that I did in that film. And people got upset. The original fans, they went crazy. They were like, oh no, we want our original. Master Mode's flight model.
Yeah.
I can name a whole lot of stuff in the Star Citizen universe that has matched that. A lot of us are very nostalgic about Pritchard's version of bikes and gravity, and it changes, right? And there will be those people who will argue, and understandably so, how the original version of Star Wars felt a certain way, right? And it did. It was because it was the first time we experienced it. And it was the first time that somebody was making this universe and world that we had never seen before. So it was very easy to embrace and grab, and not only grab, hold on to, because our childhood memories were tied to it and everything else. But George Lucas had always said, this is not completely my vision of what I wanted. He had scenes that he shot that were terrible in the first film. Remember, Jabba the Hutt was a big fat guy with a fur coat on. And he said that, no, it's not going to work. So later on, he comes back and he adds those things, right? It is a different Star Wars, admittedly. It looks differently aesthetically, but you cannot say that does not look as a better version of what the original film was and more complete. It was a more complete, even though it was different.
It's more complete. I give you that.
It was more complete. It was more complete.
That, yeah.
The other one was not completely there, but it was great. The earlier one was great. Don't get me wrong. But you can't say that this is not more complete. I mean, let me finish. My point is that there's too many parallels in art when people say they want to do something, and in gaming, where games change. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I will say the new Star Wars, especially that it looked more lived in because it had more people in it, walking around in the background and stuff like that. I will give it that. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, more lived in, but I think that the story was more fleshed out too. I think there was just a little bit more stuff that made sense. There were things that were taken away. There's a great scene in the first Star Wars film where Luke actually sees the battle above Tatooine. If you guys have never seen it, it's on YouTube. He actually goes out when he's working on the farm and he sees the Star Destroyers where Leia's ship and them are up there. And he goes and tells his buddy, who says that he's going to go to the rebellion, that there is a battle going above Tatooine at the moment. And now, mind you, that scene was pulled. Now, when I look at it from a nostalgic point of view, I was like, dang, that was a great scene. They should have put it in. But when you put it in the context of the film, it's not needed. It's boring. It got taken out. Didn't come back.
Slowed down.
It didn't come back. It slowed it down. Yeah. And there are things that CIG has introduced in the game, put it in before, and they take it out and you don't see it again. And then there are things that we get to come back. How about Han's solo scene in the cantina? There are four versions of that scene. Really? There are four. Yes, there are four. The first one where Han shoots first. Then there's the second one when Greedo shoots. Then there's another two where they cut the time down more and more to make it look like it makes sense.
Okay. You know what? I thought that the time between the two shots were close together. I'm like, I thought I was crazy, but okay,
no, you weren't. You weren't. Okay. And my point was that there are times when it's one way, then it changes another way. People didn't like it, and then they go back and refine it more and more till it makes sense. And all I'm saying is they talked about that with CIG. There's so many parallels to what they do and what happens in art and film anyway. And I know people don't like it. We get comfortable with the other stuff, but all we have to do is hope that in the end, the final product is good and it's something that we want while it's being worked on. That's all I can tell you. I have no other aspirin to give anybody. That's the one I have to eat to tell myself that hopefully in the end it's going to be good. I don't judge it right now. So anyway, enough of my preaching. Y'all know I be preaching, so I'm trying not to preach. Trying not to preach. All right, let's talk about what we got coming up. Next Sunday, we are going to have our good friend, Serious Fun, return with the next edition of Lore Lighthouse. We told you guys that we would be doing these episodes from time to time, and he's going to be doing this series on citizen versus civilian. This is one of those good lore ones. So if you guys some of you guys have been around long enough to know that there's supposed to be this distinction between having citizenship and being a civilian. But we're going to be talking about that, or he's going to be talking about that on next Sunday. And we're going to talk about, is there any connection with Squadron 42? What does it mean in the persistent universe? What does it mean for folks that are part of the UEE, not a part of the UEE? So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that on next Sunday.
It won't be next Saturday, but hopefully a Saturday coming up soon. I'm having another Soul Cinema lined up.
I was just about to ask you about that. Had you given any thought to another episode? Okay, so we'll be having maybe during the month of August, maybe, you think?
I'm hoping like within 2 weeks. We'll see. I'll let you know. But yeah.
Well, it's July now, so do me a favor and save it for August, because I think July we've got everything on schedule. So we'll need something for August, because July schedule's already set. So that August would be perfect if you can work it out then, because we ain't got nothing for August yet. So we could use that. Okay. All right. Well, we are going to. Was that the only question we had? That one, was that it?
Yep, that's the only question.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, Fastcart has us set up to get ready to do a raid, and I hope that they're still on. We talk so doggone long, or I talk so doggone long. The person might be gone. Okay. Well, we are going to set up a raid.
Done. They've been on for 33 hours. Okay.
Woo, good. Oh my God. Good googly moogly. They sure have been. Oh my goodness. All right. We're going to send you guys over to Bams. Maybe you guys can give Bam some inspiration. He's got 213 people watching, so he must be doing a marathon. Yeah, he has a sit-a-thon, he calls it. 55. Sit-a-thon day 55. Holy smoke. Goodness gracious. All right. Well, give some pump ups and some cheers over there, because I would never do 33 hours in this game. That's insanity.
I can barely do 12.
cheers to him for doing that. We're going to send you guys over to BAMS. When you get over there, let them know you came from the Soul Citizens. And if you like, of course, follow. Give them some support over there, too. And other than that, Fastcart, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you dropping in at the last minute. And thank you guys for being here. Thanks for participating in the polls today. Stay safe, stay warm, take care of yourselves. As we always tell you guys, peace, love, and soul. We'll see you soon. Ciao.